My question is, does a young African-American boy or girl want to be a police officer today?
Well, I can tell you this, my 6-year-old son dressed up as one for Halloween. So I know one, and he's African. Is it not clear that he's African? Okay. So.
Because I thought there might be a stigma to the profession, and that some people growing up in largely African-American neighborhoods might say, don't want to be, don't want to go to the.
Just say this. I know a lot of police officers. I work with a lot of police officers, African Americans and white, and I have not had. I have one officer who just happens to be a white officer, and he is always going to these kids while he's patrolling, handing out coloring books to African American kids. Hey, I want to be. I know one officer in particular. I don't know if I can mention his name, but anyway, I know one officer in particular who encouraged a young black child to grow up to be an officer, and he's very proud of this kid. So, you know, you can feed back and forth. I think, first of all, I think we're making too much of a race issue out of it, personally. That's my opinion.
Well,
this is not about...
But I want to come back to Charlie's, the question, did he want to be police officers? And I want to push that it's not whether or not the kids want to be police officers. I want the kids to want to be whatever they want to be.
That's right.
Whatever they want to be. I want them to aspire to be whatever they want to be.
Oh, I know, but
and if it's
I only raised that because I thought some people believe that if the police force reflects the community, it'll better serve.
But it also includes the possibility of being a police officer. And you know, it includes all of those things, because I think that one of the issues that we have is that we have this, we need to try to create in some ways some kind of economic dividend within, you know, an equity dividend within our communities. Right now, African American wages are lower than white wages. African American unemployment is higher than black employment. It's higher than white employment. So, yeah, it's not a race thing. But when you look at the data,
I'm saying it's not all race things.
But when you look at the data,
put it out there like it's all about race. With this protest, it's not all about race. These are, you have, I don't know, thousands of people out in the streets, in the malls, where you were going, over on South Grant, which is in the area where I live, and I couldn't go down that block, down that street, and it was a diverse people out there. There were African American, black, Hispanics, and everything else out there on Grand Avenue. So I don't think it became a race issue at that time. It became a race issue when Michael Brown was shot, who happened to be black, by a white officer. That's when it became a race issue. To me, it is.
The back fence conversation we had with the two gentlemen who are friends and disagree, but they're neighbors. One of them had made the point that you know, this is our system. This was the decision, right or wrong. This is our system. Is it? Does everyone feel that it's our system, or do some people feel like they're not part of that system?
But I think, to your latter point, a lot of people don't feel like they're a part of that system, right? And so if you go and you read the new Jim Crow and you hear Michelle Alexander talk about this, there are some very clear statistical reasons why people don't feel like this is a system that favors them. And this is why I keep coming back to honest conversations, right? Because it's one thing to get more deeply ingrained in what we already believe. It's another thing to present how people are honestly feeling and say, how do we get after the root causes of why folks are feeling that way on all sides of this issue? And so there are a lot of people who feel like this justice system is not built for them, and there's statistical data to back up why, right? So when we look at the war on drugs and we look at the fact that drugs that are more prevalent in African American communities are actually punished with harsher sentences than drugs that are more prevalent in white communities, that's a disparity that we have to pay attention to, right? And so we have to honestly talk about those things and not skirt away from it because race is uncomfortable.
And the biggest conversation stopper is for someone to say, you shouldn't feel that way.
Yeah.
Precisely.
You know,
it's
you shouldn't feel that way. It invalidates you as a person, as a human being. And it's like these kind of conversations, like, I mean, so like the anger, I agree with your point. It's like, it's okay for us to be uncomfortable.
Intelligent people can disagree. Yeah. Let's agree on this. There are going to be some people that you'll never get off their belief that Darren Wilson was absolutely justified, okay? And then there's folks that say that was first-degree murder. You'll never change probably either side's mind, no matter how much evidence you put in front of them, no matter how much discussion. So agree to that, okay? Now how do we move on from here? Intelligent people can disagree. So how do we fix this? How do we repair the relationship? How do we move forward? That's going to be the biggest challenge.
Yeah. I think the biggest way to improve a lot of this is education, what Brittany's doing. I think that if you can succeed in getting people out of high school and then after 4 years of college, the stats show the money comes.
At the end of the day, there's probably more that we agree upon than we disagree upon. And I think that's why I keep getting back to this issue. We have to have a conversation that articulates what a good community looks like for all of us in this region, for everyone in the region. And that's, and I think that's what I think this opportunity is going to provide us is what is the good society, what is the beloved community, as Dr. King called it, look like for St. Louis. Safety, justice, peace, equity, all those things. And I think those are things we all want.
And I think that we all want our society to be a place where your zip code, your race, your educational background does not determine your outcomes.
Exactly.
That's true equity, and I think that's what we can all agree that we want.
Or at the very least, isn't a very accurate predictor, as
Exactly.
we discussed here. All right.